Okay, welcome back. And our guest is Mr. Adedeji, Honorable Adedeji Olomola. He's a former chair, Oriade local government in Osun State. And he's canvassing a very interesting idea, an agenda for the incoming government that is addressing rising recurrent expenditures and wastages. And from the beginning, we've been talking about this. People have called in, and I think Mr. Olomola has sort of been able to explain the concern people have that, look, will this, if you reduce staff, if you reduce the personnel, will this not have a negative effect? And you've talked about that. But these things will keep on coming back. So let's move so that I could look at our foreign exchange, look at Forex, for example. How would this notion, this idea, impact positively on Forex, which is in a very dire situation right now?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's surprising that with all the foreign missions that we have, with all our affiliation with all bodies across the globe, we are accepting from Europe foreign exchange status dictated by Europe. We have a currency which you cannot use outside the borders of Nigeria. Mm-hmm. We buy from Europe and Asia. We buy from them in their currencies. They buy from us in their currencies. When they even buy from us, the whole nation does not have a singular bank that is of first-class European standard, which means any international transaction you are doing, it has to pass through a bank that is of first-class European standard. So the monies we even make never comes to any account that is 100% controlled by the Nigerian government. So the implication is that your money stays on there, they seek withhold your money, and at the end of the day, they now tell you, you need this aids, you need that aids. Bring 20%, we add 80%. If you want to help me, give me the 80%, you don't need my 20%. So it goes on and on. And the foreign missions are there. No commercial desks there. Nobody's interested in what is happening. If you go to even the European embassies here, they have commercial desks because they know that the economy comes first. But there, nobody is bothered. So what happens, therefore, is this. We don't have a convertible currency.
I was going to say that it's a very big subject you're touching on.
I just want to summarize.
Okay.
Let me submit.
Okay.
What the new incoming administration will need to do is they must set up a serious body that will negotiate this with the World Bank, the IMF, and the United Nations. It is time that we hammer the fact that since our currency is only domestic, then it is we that can say this is the rate at which we're going to exchange, because we don't have a convertible, there's no trade balance.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, but Kesandu, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for
good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Please, let me start by the last thing you said, that the government needs to set up a new body. Please, if we set up a new body that we're going to pay to do this job, we have a whole lot of them that are starting to use responsibility that you have pointed out. Sir. Let government strengthen those ones. Let us not set up new ones that will end up paying, that will have DAs, SAs, and SSAs again. Please, so I will not waste. But you see, a whole lot of persons have actually mentioned civil servants. I don't know what to hope for them. But I also want to say this. He who goes to equity must come with clean hands. We must send our advice to the incoming government. There is a need for them to cut down expenses. You see, even as president-elect, when you see the kind of convoy that follows the president-elect, you wonder, some of them are not needed. That is just the truth. If you see the humongous amount of money we give to the National Assembly, it is not worth it. So the truth about it is that, yes, if we show responsibility from the presidency, I can bet you no staff of any federal ministry will misbehave. Because you have seen that the president is a no-nonsense being and is ready for work. Let me give you an instance. the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter, you see what he did, how he reduced his convoy when he was governor. He converted that, see, there's no point staying in Abuja in the name of my zone office. We don't need it. A situation when you see that Mr. President does not want such thing, there are people who are not needed. You don't need to be following his convoy when you are not productive. At the end of the day, you take salaries and wages. That's roughly 2 million. There's no point. So the president must show responsibility, must show seriousness. And I can tell you, the people will just follow suit. It's just a systematic. Let us start there, and what is done, and then we'll fall into perspective and shape. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ketan.
Can I respond?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't want you to have a misconception. I only said that the incoming president should make use of just a committee. It could just be 4 or 5 persons. You don't need. But
it has to be a serious.
A serious one.
Body.
And then when you have such a body, you can call in those that have performed. And Wheeler was there when somebody was president. They paid off Nigerian debt to zero balance. So you pick people like that to now go back and renegotiate on behalf of Nigeria. I'm not talking of any formation, anything. Okay. We have people that can do that.
Okay. So, Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess, in the studio.
Yes.
So, you see, let us look at this issue of underline that word, say wastage. Nigeria is an oil-producing country, and we export this crude oil. Do Nigerians know that the crude oil we export, we extract over 6,000 items from crude oil. There's no time because of this program to mention them. Now look at the products we are importing, the petrol. See how Nigerians are suffering. Do you know, is Nigeria aware that the kerosene we use are being produced by these boys at the creek? This illegal refinery. Now, what does it take us from this? The refinery that the government said you get boys who are producing all these things. Instead of going to allow those boys, license them, show them what to do, bring in experts to guide them with that is digital equipment. Instead of using the crude method to produce all this. Kerosene we use today in the state are being produced, but I don't see not wasted. How many kerosene, even the ones they say they import that, it's just very few. And a gallon of kerosene, a liter of kerosene is 800 and something, 1 liter. The same thing like gas. Why must it be so? I just not wasted.
So
you should try as much as possible.
Okay. So you're talking about oil bunkers and all those illegal refineries, those crude refineries. You're saying that they could be embraced.
They are not illegal, Sayori. We call them oil bunkering. Those boys at the creek. They are helping Nigeria. Nigeria does not bring in kerosene that goes round.
Okay. All right.
Why is it illegal?
So
let us put this. We should face reality of life. Not a question of pushing them into the creek. Bring them into the government. Let them give them the license. What I mean is, give them license. Allow them. Let them do all these things in a real way, not in a crude way or a criminal way.
All right.
People are suffering.
Okay.
How much? Do you know how much Chakoga price is it firewood? This is what wasted. The area we face the issue of life, the better for us. The incoming government come make sure let 29 may come quickly so that we know exactly what's going to happen. Good morning. Good
morning, Mazi Okoroafo. Well, we seem to have sparked a very interesting conversation this morning. As you can see, everybody has come in with with their own ideas.
Exactly.
You know.
Let me just have a second for that person. He has talked well.
Mazi Okoroafo.
You remember when somebody had to fight for Ogogoro in Nigeria when they said it was illegal? And so I think it was Tai Solani, somebody. And later, they legalized the production of Ogogoro. Now, recently, very, very recently, less than some 2 months ago, 2 boys in Oyo State succeeded in manufacturing petrol and diesel from waste nylon and waste plastic. It was in the media. And then some time ago, too, you find a boy in Borno who was able to make a marwa that is a keke napep that is operating on solar.
On solar battery power.
A boy some time ago on BBC, whatever program, BBC Yoruba program, something, that person also made a transformer. So what are we saying? The man is talking sense. The Oyibo tells you that those things are illegal. Who tells them that it's illegal? If somebody now makes for you a 500 tons a day refinery, the person starts from the scratch. It is the people that would have by now developed refineries for Nigeria that had been, clamped down.
Oppressed
and clamped down.
Upon.
So if during the Civil War, the East did not buy petrol and diesel, they produced what they were using, and you came and say it is illegal. And why is it illegal? Yes, because they don't have license. During the license days, it got to a level where you might even need a license to sleep with your wife. And now, when we are out of that, legalize these things. You will now register people who think they are able, they have a knowledge of it. You now arrange them, provide creek for them, give them the crude oil officially to say, okay, take these 5,000 liters, work on it. Then they will start to grow. Bring in your engineers. They will start to fabricate small things. Before you know it, we'll be producers. We'll be able to do the refining of our oil by ourselves. So it has talked sense.
So a lot depends on how we think about this, because that's very important.
Yes.
The mentality must be such, because it's like one must be willing to explore alternatives as opposed to doing things the way it has always been done.
If government allows you to do a thing, there is no reason why you would do it the wrong way. It is when you think this thing is in your community and you know how to do it, and you're not allowed to do it, then you become fake.
Okay, all of this is benefiting, as it were, if this idea, this notion, if they were to be executed perfectly, excellently, it would be benefiting the nation. But the one that comes to the ordinary individual, I see something here. Let's look at pensions, for example.
Yeah.
Because everybody can relate to that.
Right, yes. Thank you very much. When you talk about pensions, it was a noble thing. Yes, when you work for some years, you need pension for the rest of your life. Fine. But what you have now is a workforce of, let's say, I'm only making comparison. You have, let's say, 1 million workers, and you have 10 million pensioners. So you are going to be paying more money on pension, more than what you have as the workforce. But my suggestion on that is straightforward. We can terminate pensions by replacing it with additional year for gratuity. And then...
How does that work?
Yes, it works.
So if you were to, for example now,
yes.
You were to retire at 60, for example.
Yes.
There will be an additional year. You could continue till 61?
No. You collect a gratuity. Maybe you have done 10 years, they give you 1 year. You've done 20 years, they give you 2. You've done 30 years, they give you 3. So for any of this category, because you no more collect pension now, you give you additional 1 year. So that additional 1 year will replace your coming back. And you can now take your fund, invest it the way you think you want. The idea is that the result will be that the nation will be out. Say you realize that your banks, many of the corporations, many of the banks, international bodies, many of them, there is nothing like pension. It's when you are going, they give you whatever they think they will give you. And if I go back to one of the people that have also suggested something, you see that the pension of a thing, somebody says he's 60 or 65, when in actual, it's already 78. Now, he now retires and says that he wants to be collecting pension, and even the gratuity he might not even have collected before he passes on. So I personally, I don't want us to bring in too many issues. When you have domiciliated, you domesticate the running of the federal government administration in Nigeria into state basis. I am canvassing for state basis because people are afraid of regionalism. People are afraid of religious bigotry and all that. And then we're already suspicious of ourselves. But at least the states have come to stay. And there's no state that is a single tribe. So if the federal government is now operating along the states, most of these things we shall now start to address as we go. Mm-hmm. For instance, if you retire at 50, you are even a better person. And our government can now say, if you retire at 50, you collect your gratuity, meet your bank. If you have an industrial plan, your bank should automatically finance you because you are a tested brain and you will definitely do well. And you can now even add to the result. Instead of blocking children that have graduated at 25, they remain at home till 50. Because you want to wait till you are 75.
Yes.
So these things will come in, it's gradual. But like I will continue to repeat, there must be a foundation for the change. And that foundation is the domiciliation of operations of the federal government administration in Nigeria into the states. Well,
Honorable Olomola, I think this is a fine place to leave it, because you've given us much food for thought. You're also sort of saying that people have to do an alternative kind of thinking.
Exactly.
There's the way you know it now, the way it's always been.
Exactly.
But we got to think out of the box.
Exactly.
You know, and if this is done, domestication of the federal government is the only way out to run a balanced and cheaper federal expenditure escape.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for coming along.
Thank
I
you,
really
sir.
appreciate you, and it's been quite informative.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there, and our guests actually engaged with the topic, and everybody had a suggestion or the other to make. So thank you for that as well. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folare. Bye-bye for now.